Shall we start?
Yeah, we can start.
Good evening to one and all. On behalf of IEEE CS Madras section, CSA Chennai chapter, ACM Chennai, and ICC, I welcome you all for the webinar on emerging technology trends in digital public infrastructure innovation. Now I request Mr. Vijay, P. Chordia, President, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening, everyone. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this prestigious event organized by the CSI Chennai, ACM and IEEE CS Chennai, and Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. Today, we have the unique opportunity to explore the fascinating world of emerging technology trends in digital public infrastructure, in other words, DPI, innovation. This is a subject of immense importance as we navigate the digital transformation that is reshaping our world. We are honored to have with us Mr. Achyut Chandra, the lead for innovation ecosystems and government technologies engagement at HCLSoftware, New Delhi. With his profound expertise and vast experience, Mr. Chandra is exceptionally well suited to guide us through the latest advancements and trends in DPI innovation. His insights will undoubtedly provide us with a deeper understanding of how these technologies are influencing and enhancing public infrastructure. This event has been meticulously organized by a team of dedicated professionals to bring us this enlightening session. I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Mr. H.R. Mohan, Chairman of the IoT Committee of Hindustan Chamber, Dr. K. Komathy, Chair of the CSI Chennai, and Dr. P. Sakthivel, Chair of the ACM and IEEE CS Madras. Their vision and commitment to promoting knowledge and innovation in the field of technology are truly commendable. In today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, it is crucial for us to stay abreast of emerging trends and technologies. Digital public infrastructure is the backbone of our digital society, enabling efficient delivery of public services, fostering innovation, and driving economic growth. Understanding these trends will help us leverage new technologies to build a more connected, inclusive, and sustainable future. I encourage you all to actively engage in today's session, ask questions, and share your thoughts. This is a valuable opportunity to learn from one of the foremost experts in the field and to exchange ideas with fellow professionals. Once again, welcome to this insightful event. Let us look forward to an engaging and informative talk within the realm of digital public infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. H.R. Mohan, Chair Events, IEEE CS Madras section, to introduce the speaker.
Greetings and good evening to one and all. Let me once again, on behalf of the organizing units CSI, IEEE Computer Society, ACM, and Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, with great pleasure to warmly welcome our eminent speaker, Mr. Achyut Chandra, members and my colleagues from the organizing units, and participants joined the Google Meet meeting, and those watching the YouTube streaming of this event. As all of us know, digital public infrastructure has fueled the government to citizen services, and it is the real backbone for all our Digital India initiatives. We are witnessing a revolution with the power to transform the way our government services its citizens. We are not just talking about efficiency, but we are talking about harnessing cutting-edge technologies to tackle challenges from farms to classroom and everywhere in between, apart from social good, such as AI-powered crop monitoring, ensuring fair deal for farmers, blockchain-based food traceability, guaranteeing safe food on our table. Today's presentation will delve into these possibilities, exploring how artificial intelligence, blockchain, Internet of Things, and cloud computing are poised to revolutionize few areas such as agriculture, logistics, finance, climate change, and education, with certain case study examples. It is to be noted that the innovation comes with challenges such as data privacy, scalability, and ethical considerations. We will address these head-on, ensuring responsible and ethical use of technologies. There is a place for all in this exciting journey. Let us discuss the potentials of digital public infrastructure innovation across various sectors and how we can all contribute for a better future for India and the world, and realize the vision, make in India, make for the world. And let us develop solutions with global relevance by embracing digital technologies. So now let me move on to introduce the speaker, Mr. Achyut Chandra, associated with HCLSoftware, is a practitioner of emerging technology innovation with about 10 years of experience. He has leveraged advanced technologies such as AI, extended reality, and quantum machine learning to drive innovation in B2B areas. Mr. Achyut's contribution in the fields of data and artificial intelligence and space tech have been pivotal in addressing complex problems and social issues. In the G2C sector, he has enhanced digital public infrastructure, led innovations for agriculture, contributed to understanding climate change, and improved communication and logistics at a population scale. His expertise encompasses business development, ecosystems technology architecture, product management, and strategic partnership for revenue creation. Mr. Achyut is an alumnus of Amity University with BE in Mechanical and Automation Engineering, MBA in Marketing, and BITS Pilani with ME in Software Engineering and Data Analytics. Earlier to HCLSoftware, he has served at Tata Power, Mott McDonald, HCL Technologies. He is an adjunct faculty at Amity University and also working group member with World Economic Forum. With this brief welcome note and about the presentation and also introducing the speaker, let me invite Mr. Achyut Chandra to enlighten the participants on emerging technologies and its trends in the digital public infrastructure innovation. Over to Mr. Achyut.
Godfrey sir, is it a recording? Sir? Godfrey sir?
Ma'am, CSA Chennai how to record. Divya,
Yeah.
start recording.
Yes. I think it's recording, yeah. Now it's recording. Should I go ahead?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Komathy, Mr. Mohan, everybody, right, for the opportunity. And it's a pleasure to be here with everybody. Yes, I think, I am not sure how many, what's the categorization split of the audience joining in, but my assumption is that we are looking at students, maybe budding entrepreneurs or startups, right, in technology innovation. So what I've done is I've created a short primer, a bit of read, so that you can have a look at it and then chart your journeys accordingly. And I'm of course available to for any questions, so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So yes, as a lot. I think I wouldn't go in depth in terms of an introduction about me, but yes, technology innovation is an area that I've been associated with and I've been working on for quite some time. And certainly there are multiple realms to it, B2B to B2C, and then of course now I'm taking the same ecosystem, same experience across from a B2G landscape as well. And I'll sort of unpack all of this. What does it mean, right? From a brief conversation we had yesterday with the organizing team, I'll start very small, very basic, and then we'll just increase the complexity factor, and we won't go much into depth, and that's how the flow is. We'll also take two examples. I thought logistics and agriculture would be something of interest, so let's understand what that is, and let's also spend some time into a phenomena that's emerging, that's called GovTech innovation. So we'll talk about that, and open to any questions. Chat window is there. I keep checking that. Else we'll take it up towards the end. All right. So yes, of course, the information, full disclosure and disclaimer. Information is just for information purposes presented here, and it may be corroborated through various sources. secondary resources as well. And the idea is essentially, to disseminate information and to share experiences and to spark ideas that we can collaborate together. All right. So to start with, right, what is a digital public infrastructure? Any type of infrastructure, as we know, roads, bridges, they're all physical infrastructure, right? They connect from point A to point B. And just like that, and what does that mean? That means that, you are able to get objects, transported from one location to the other, driving a lot of, service delivery, or, driving a lot of outcomes that can be done, or that can be, reached from a point to the other point. And that means there's much more economic prosperity. There's much more employment that's there, that there's much more decision making that can be done, and of course eventually that leads to more and more of prosperity across areas like health, or even education. The more the roads is, we keep saying that a good infrastructure means good economic prosperity. So likewise, a digital infrastructure is also a foundation of any digital society. Now, the word public is added because the infrastructure developed for the use of citizens or public is the digital infrastructure. So think of it like roads and bridges as core of foundations, and there can be a network of interconnected such bridges that can form the core of systems, so that governments can deliver essential services, whether it is a vaccine rollout campaign, or whether it is information dissemination across floods, across we are right now having a flood situation. Before that, we had a heat wave situation. So how do you get those relief measures out to the citizens? Financial inclusion is one of the other areas as well. So ease of delivering those essential services to citizens, to businesses, to companies as well, and also between government agencies, is the digital public infrastructure, right? So it has three core elements. It's used to connect point A to point B. It's used to send or allow secure information from point A to point B. And of course, it creates more efficient, because you have a dedicated route to send data, to transact, and to be able to service a problem. So it creates a more streamlined system for delivering public services. And we'll talk about what type of these services are there. Now, as we just unpacked in a DPI, there are certain more building blocks under DPI, or within the DPI infrastructure, which are called as public goods. And then there are different building blocks as well. So a digital now let's go a bit deeper in terms of what a digital public infrastructure looks like, right? So these are eventually these are solutions combined, that enable government services to really function smoothly, and it includes different digital building blocks. It includes open frameworks, open protocols, open licenses, which form digital goods. So digital goods, the various building blocks, all of that combined creates works together to form this entire digital public infrastructure ecosystem, which of course to disseminate further are usually a set of interoperable, or interoperable meaning can be working across a web interface. It could be working across various government IT channels, across mobile as well, and that increases the usability of of the solution. So that's what a public infrastructure sort of is. Now the basic question is, and the basic question here is, why do we need a DPI, right? You can always, of course, we used to have services. It's not that services haven't been enabled before, but there are phases of digital getting adopted across between government and citizens. So earlier, there was a phase where we had no digital interfaces, so paper-based transactions, of course, were there. So there was no digitization per se. Then came the phase which is called as digitization. So all of those paper-based systems were scanned, processed, and converted into digital documents. So that was the digitization phase. Then came the digitalization phase, where there are processes and then there are actions that are taken based upon the information that is constructed or even transacted on a digital route. So there is no paper-based activity. Now, these infrastructures and these goods, really are the mechanisms and tools to be able to do that. So we need a DPI. We need an infrastructure which is public, which is secure, so that multiple departments or multiple areas like healthcare could be one, education could be another, transport could be another, maybe aviation could be another, so that different data silos lying across various departments can actually speak to each other, can communicate to each other, and eventually service the citizens, right? So that is one aspect. Data silos is one of the reasons that we need a DPI. If you need a citizen service, whether it's applying for a driving license, right, you need what is called as an interoperability. So lack of the interoperability really means that you need a digital public infrastructure so that systems can talk to each other, right? Then digital access, right? If there is limited access to digital services, then of course service delivery is impacted. And of course, if you have data-based decisions that are done using using digital infrastructures or goods that are created, it also gives back the decision makers inputs in terms of how a service delivery mechanism is working or not. So for example, I'm sure everybody of us has used Digi Yatra, and what is the number one service delivery component that it addresses? You're skipping queues. You have a three-step process, and you are from your exit, from your entry point to the airport to the gate that's there, provided of course certain conditions are of course there. Now the success of Digi Yatra is a DPI. Now success of this Digi Yatra is enabled by the by the usage of that DPI. The more number of people use this infrastructure means that it is working, and they also contribute to the development of betterment of this service, which is getting passengers to their aircrafts in lesser time. So all of that is of course done if it's transacted on a data, if it's transacted digitally. So yes, these are some of the reasons that are there. Now 2024 is the year where of course we are seeing more and more of not just adoption but introduction as well from DPIs that are there. And we're just fresh from the G20 summit, which we spoke about the importance of DPI as an essential tool for citizen good governance. So yes, what we'll see is that we'll see more and more of evangelization of this of DPIs across various sectors. We'll see simplification of DPIs, focusing on citizen needs, more mobile friendly, more better experience oriented DPIs that will be there. We'll see next, we'll see various. So we spoke about data silos getting broken, right? Using a DPI. So we'll see more and more of government agencies collaborating together in terms of sharing data, in terms of creating maybe an API access to say a DPI, and creating more and more of proof of concept, so that we're able to collaborate for the citizen welfare that's there. Now, whilst we do that, there of course will be emphasis in terms of data privacy and security. So we'll also be looking at the type of data that is shared and the parameters that are shared between agencies around digital public infrastructure. Even, of course, provided that all of this is done, there are frameworks to securely innovate, I would say, right? Now, digital public infrastructures are the foundations of getting service delivery done to citizens. But more and more of innovation gets created when you have private sector collaborating with public. So, which means it could be a startup company, could be citizens, it could be large, private companies as well. So we'll see more and more of private sector taking these DPIs and creating innovative use cases on top of it, and we'll see some of those examples in the later slides. Then of course, lastly, as more and more of the infrastructure gets created, we'll see more around the scalability aspect. How do you scale a DPI adoption? I'll take an example, right? I mean, Ayushman Bharat DPI is a very great, it's a very good DPI on ABDM is the DPI name, on healthcare. The focus, really now is going across the adoption, between the players that are there, since the adoption right now is close to around 40 to 45%, and that should, really increase as we speak. So, how do you scale this in a more, sustainable manner that are there? That is there, of course. Now, let's look at the India DPI ecosystem, and this is not something that's new. You would have seen these logos before, but yes, Aadhaar was the start. So these days, Mohan spoke about it, right? Make in India, make for the world. The concept here is that if you can pilot and you can test this from an India scale perspective, innovations that are there, right? You can do it across any geography in the world. So Aadhaar started, and we had UPI as the biggest case study from an India DPI ecosystem. FASTag was launched from a toll collection standpoint, and the toll collection rates jumped more than 2,000% as this move forward. DigiLocker, a great way of storing your government documents. Digi Yatra, we just spoke about it. Pashini is a great in-house translation tool where you have translation across all the Indian native languages that are there. We just spoke about ABDM, digital health ecosystem. It is still growing. It is needed, and it's still growing. ONDC, one of my favorites, and that is more around an open e-commerce engine and ecosystem that's there, and I'm sure you have also heard about it. Growing strides that are there. So India's going forward, right? I mean, we call this the India stack, right? In general terms, the three guiding principles are it's open source, it's interoperable, and there is trust and consent, right? So the India stack is based on three layers. You have the ID layer, the identity layer, which is you and me, usually authenticated through Aadhaar, right? Then you have the payments layer that allows anyone to pay easily. So you have the so examples of those examples of UPIs, examples of DPIs created on this layer are UPI. UPI is an example. And then you have the data layer, that enables secure sharing of this data so that innovation, first is service delivery can happen, and second is innovation can also be done. So, DigiLocker is an example of that, of the DPI that's there. Now, it's not just finance, right? There are other areas as well. So this is a good, I would say, view that gives DPI, that gives a perspective of DPIs that are spread across all sectors, right? You look at the breadth of sectors, right? Right from education to agriculture to healthcare, right? You have, we've created in public infrastructures that are across each and every area, and there are more that are getting created as well. So and the and it's all powered by the underlying digital public good. So whether it is the Beacon protocol, widely explored and used in the ONDC standpoint as well, or it is MOSAPE. Likewise, right? eGov is also there. That's the that's the base in that moves and furthers some of the India Stack initiatives. So likewise, I'll take another example. You see a platform over here that's called GEM, or Government E-Marketplace. Very interesting. So all of the government procurement is done through the Government E-Marketplace, and it allows for a buyer and a seller to transact through a secure channel. And this marketplace has does tenders of large equipments and large volume quantities to even smaller startups as well, as part of a campaign called Startup that's there. So that that is, of course, one other DPI that's there. One more DPI I would like to also talk about is CoWIN, because we've all used this. Now, what is CoWIN? CoWIN is a vaccine delivery platform, digital public infrastructure, which ensures that once you have registered yourself, you have access to the vaccine, of course, but you have access to multiple hospitals, to also the endpoint certificate that's there, to even sharing it across multiple channels. So it's the end-to-end vaccine delivery system that's there. So that's this now CoWIN is a Make in India DPI, but CoWIN can easily be, and it is being used across India, is providing that across to other countries as well, especially in Africa, right, where you need a vaccine delivery to be done. So that is Make for the World. This DPI is made like that, so it can be used from that standpoint that's there. All right, let's move forward. Yeah, so how are private sector players really working into it, right? Government has done its job and it's continuing to innovate. So, we see a lot of the names that you see over here, they're innovating. They're creating unique, they're creating specific use cases, specific solutions for unique problems that they have identified. on the public infrastructure that's there. These are some examples that you see. So which example should I take? I'm just thinking. I think let's take maybe ports and logistics. ULIP. So ULIP is a unified logistics interface that works with multimodal transport that provides service delivery for a multimodal transport area, which means that transport can be done through sea, air, land, right? All the channels that are there. So it's a connector that brings all of those permits together. So you can see Adani Ports and Logistics is using the ULIP DPI to be able to service specific use cases. So that's an example that's there. Payment system, I think we all know, right? So it's very prominent. So yeah, these are some examples that are there. Now, how can we innovate across the landscape, right? This is one of the good, I would say, maturity examples that I think we can take a look. So, the DPIs like FASTag, like UPI, Aadhaar, they've been here for some time. So they have successful mass adoption, right, within the target audience. So what should be the strategy here? So if we are looking at, mature digital entities over here, that have successful mass adoption with their target audience, we can be looking at it in terms of, we can, as a startup or, as a private sector player or even as a student, right, we can be looking at furthering use cases and integrating across other DPIs as well, right? Since these are matured, so how can this be the backbone to accelerating other digital entities? The second are the budding DPIs that we see here, right? The healthcare ecosystem, we see there, CoWIN, DigiLocker, ABDM, that's there. So POCs are successful and they're ready for mass adoption. Yeah, I missed one part. So if there's a mature DPI, you can look at exploring or enhancing the citizen experience, or sometimes it's called total experience as well from a citizen standpoint. You can look at using emerging technologies like extended reality, or say working on quantum on these mature DPIs as you're looking to explore new use cases. So that's one example. Budding DPIs, POCs are done, it's ready for mass adoption. So over here, you should be looking at the strategy here is you should be looking at essentially easing down the barriers between the verticals that you see on the top side. How can you do that with the help of some of the mass scale technologies like artificial intelligence, so that your adoption rate increases essentially, or even digitalization or digital plus analytics in the second sector that's there. And the last is emerging DPIs that are there. So it's the strategy is, of course, if you see, right, shift left. So the other DPIs which have a potential to scale, the strategy is to move them to budding DPIs, right? So how can we do that? Hackathons are a good mechanism to be able to do that. ULIP conducted a successful hackathon last year, and the more that is done, the more it moves towards the left-hand side per se. Okay, let's start with the first area, which is logistics, right? Oh, I think the image is not, it may not be legible, but let me explain. So yeah, see, the background here is that infrastructure is the backbone for any country. So India incurs one of the highest logistics cost as a percentage of GDP as compared to other countries that is there. So the objective of launching the ULIP platform, Unified Logistics Interface platform, was to reduce the logistics cost. By how? By by integrating about 24 logistics systems across 6 ministries and departments to provide a real-time data and fill critical gaps so that movement of goods can be done easily. So you look at it, right? I mean, how many different in any logistics operation, how many logistics multimodal operation, how many different departments are needed? You need ports, you need civil aviation, road, and of course financing as well. So that's what ULIP aims to do, and this is how the architecture of ULIP really looks like. ULIP essentially is the virtual gateway. On the left-hand side, it speaks to these many government systems, right? Whether it's DigiLocker to get your driving license, to getting your RC, your registration certificate through Vahan, to I mean that's there in Digi also, but yeah, to railways, to commerce, to other government systems. How does it communicate? These are APIs that are there, and it communicates securely. Sends response to various other users and various applications that it has created. So it has an authentication application, digitization, track and trace, automation, and the users of this, could be a transporter, could be a warehouse, could be a port, could be a government agency in a port. So yeah, it could be a startup also that's providing an efficient or a faster, a quicker mechanism. So that's how you then get more and more of users on top of it. So yeah, that's ULIP. Second area is agriculture, very upcoming, I would say. So let's look at the agriculture infrastructure first. I mean, agriculture infrastructure, digital public infrastructure innovation areas, DPI innovation areas for agriculture. So let's forget the bottom component for a moment. Let's just focus on the top use cases. So areas where we can actually provide or solve support, getting farmer loan, getting farmer support, crop nutrition from that standpoint, any sustainability initiatives that we can disseminate to the farmer, monitoring, evaluation, any new policy that has been launched for the agricultural sector, and that is sort of that should be informed. Most of the times what happens is that information is not known. How do you get that across? Disaster risk mitigation, very big. It's flood time, especially in most of the regions in India. So how do you protect crop? Because we are looking at and that's where the next potential solution comes across. This is called AgriStack. Still work in progress, but it's something that's coming up really well. The aim essentially is to double the farmer yield. We have a potential to really utilize our soil. So it at the identity side. So I'll take a pause to really reflect back on India Stack's three principles. It was a 3-layer principle, right? It had identity, it had data, right? So all of those things. Same concept over here. So at the identity side, you have an e-sign, you have a farmer ID, you have like the KYC, you have a KYF over here. And you can create plug and play apps like supply chain storage management from a cold storage standpoint to credits from a financial services to advisory like alerts, and also giving maybe a sandbox, right? Now those sandbox could be various startups that can test their agri-tech solutions and then test and validate that's there. So a unified farmer service interface is what is on the cards here, and It speaks to the data providers, which are public, private, and individuals, to the data consumers, essentially, service providers around this. So yeah, through a consented exchange of data. So in a nutshell, AgriStack looks at giving value across weather data, crop surveys, land record, soil health, irrigation data, all of those areas, right? In terms of creating innovation. So let's move forward quickly in terms of what are the key technologies that are used. So I think this we've covered already, so I won't spend much time. But yes, open APIs, open standards, pretty much prevalent. Cloud computing has been used. Biometrics has been used. DLT technology is still very early, but yes, can be used. And of course, mobile is the way forward. Mobile web-based applications. So to a large portion of the population that's there. So how do we innovate here, right? So we spoke about what's a DPI. We ventured into the India stack. We then spoke about two examples, agriculture and logistics. But, how do we innovate and who can innovate, right? So this is an excellent opportunity slide. It talks about inclusive whole of society digital transformation. And the key players in this is not just the government. It's actually it's these elements, it's regulation, businesses, people, infrastructure, and the government. All of them can come together, in areas like data exchange, data legal identity, digital payments, digital inclusion, right? And on the circumference that you see over here, these are the areas where, they can create an impact, across availability, accessibility, adoption, awareness, and of course, protection that's there. So, yeah. We spoke about the India DPIs, but it's other countries are also doing it. These are 4 examples, right from Estonia to Singapore, Brazil, right? Singapore is also one of the front runners in terms of ID system and online transactions that's there. Likewise, we are looking at the European Union single European payment area, the SEPA, which facilitates cross-border payments. Over there, you use one visa to traverse between various countries inside the EU. So this is one of the other UPIs. That's the backbone of the payment mechanism, right? What's the future going forward? Just taking the time. So yes, I think we have time, just a couple of more minutes. So I'll quickly wrap up. What's the future? We're looking at G2G innovation, collaboration between governments, so that, in terms of sharing knowledge, sharing challenges, also sharing DPIs as well. India is the front runner in DPI adoption, creation, and innovation. And then, of course, standardization will come across as we move. And then, of course, democratize access to government data to other elements. Could be an enterprise like a startup, could be citizens as well. So that not only citizens can participate, but other enterprises like startups can also innovate and further the cause of DPI, which leads to the momentum which is called as GovTech, government technologies, and it's a global shift where governments worldwide are embracing this motion. We're seeing increased focus on citizen-centric services through digital. We are also seeing investments in clouds, cybersec, and digital skills, and of course, collaborative efforts that are there. All right, that was me, Achyut, Chandra, talking about the transformation journey over here. Open to any questions, but yes, GovTech redefines good governance. That is how future will be starting now.
Thank you, Mr. Achyut Chandra, for giving us the detailed note on emerging trends in DPI. We have a few questions in the during the registration and few questions in the chat box. And first we'll go chat box. There is one question from Sivraj. In DPI domains, who to maintain secure and more reliable data security to secure and reliabilities of data are handled in future? That's one question. Another extended, because there are a lot of threats like hackers, data computation, etc. Is there any framework or developed on any universal standards, methodologies are adopted?
Sivraj, are you on the call also?
Yes.
All right. Could you just explain, if he can be muted, can explain specifically in terms of, we spoke about API as a mechanism, but would love to understand more if, what exactly is the question? Is it related to the security protocols or, who maintains security? You see, in an API, from what I understood, your question is there a single person, single entity that maintains security per se, but
He posted it's related to security protocols.
Okay. Okay. So, see, these protocols are already there. If you look at, let me pull up the screen again. Second.
Yes, so few more questions are there. Is there any verification for credentials on delivery of COVID-19 vaccine?
Well, let me first, address the first aspect. So, see, DPIs are privacy by design, governance by design. That's how it is. If you look at various, protocols that have been created. So, if you look at ID systems, payment networks, exchange programs, they all look at API calls that are there, and they are not looking at the exact data access that's there. So that data is only accessed in terms of certain parameters through this protocol that are there. Does that answer your question?
Mr. Sivraj, if you're there, you
Yes,
can open up.
okay. So, he posted it's okay, sir.
Okay.
So another
Okay.
question from Dr. Karthikeyan. Is there any verification of credentials on delivery of COVID-19 vaccine?
That the Covin app does that, and I also remember because I had, all of us had this, right? So it talks about it is linked to all of our IDs that are there, right? You upload your digital ID, and that is linked to it, linked to the COVID vaccine that is there. Because see, if you look at IDs, ID that is tagged to the COVID vaccine certificate, and now I think it's very not even needed, but yeah, it's your own ID that is tagged to your own certificate, and then only you have a OTP mechanism which is used to really authenticate. So those are some of the controls that are there. So data privacy, single point of failure. It doesn't rely on any single vendor. These are some of the areas, or these are some of the ways how the certificate is secure. Does that answer your question? A yes would be fine.
Yes, sir. Sir, few more questions are collected during the registration. April Dane, and she is the data encoder. Do we need an approval before the digitalization of the infrastructure, or before digitalizing the infrastructure?
For digitalization, no. So see, there are two different things we are saying. Access to that DPI, yes, you need an approval, because what you're trying to do is that you're trying to access a virtual gateway that has been created, which in turn will give you access to various other data sets in other silos that are there. So you need approvals, you need NDAs, and there are very easy to do processes. You can go to the website and you can sign up for it. That's there. Digitalization of your own data, of course, you don't. I mean, if that's the question, then you don't, of course, need any approvals on that. That's your own infrastructure. It's not public then it's a private infrastructure. Once it's public, then you are looking at these mechanisms.
One more question. Mr. Jahar is a consultant. What is the scope of platform for professionals to do volunteering in DPA as a way of contributing to better future for India?
Very great question. MyGov is an excellent platform. I would say MyGov is one of the excellent platforms to really contribute. Second is that there is no such. You don't have one DPI. It's a set of multiple DPIs. So whether it is ULIP, or whether it is AgriStack, or whether it is ONDC, there are various ways as a role to contribute. For example, in ONDC, there you have to define your role. Either you are a buyer, you are a seller, you are a technology service provider, and so on and so forth. And that's how you can contribute to the digital public infrastructure. You can be a user, you can be an innovator per se. Various mechanisms. I hope that gives you a perspective.
Srijan, and he's a student. His question is, what are the most impactful emerging technologies transforming DPA, and how are they improving service delivery and accessibility?
Okay, so there are two questions in this question. Number one, what are the emerging technologies? So of course, DPI is being experimented across various realms of emerging technologies. Usually is at the budding and the mature phase of DPIs. That's where you can create more innovation. So we're seeing a lot of course, digitalization measures being adopted. And of course, in terms of certain efficiency norms, AI mechanisms and techniques are also being adopted in these fronts. These are, of course, there. To also digital ledger technology is being explored when we are looking at secure dissemination and of the public infrastructure. Some of the DPIs are also exploring some experiential mechanisms, which includes mobile-friendly technologies to augmented reality as well. Your second question, how does it improve service delivery? Simple three answers to this. faster access to the information, better visibility, and you are in control and you are able to get your job done. So that's how it improves service delivery.
Sanjay is a social media engagement optimization and influencer. Why virtual communities are not created? That is his question.
Virtual communities,
Yes.
they are created. So I know this has been taken from the form, but so let me firstly frame the question in the way that I understood, which is virtual communities like Slack, etc., is what I understood, where developers can really interact with each other. Yes, it has been created. I would recommend you to check out a website, an interesting campaign going on called Code for COVID. Code for GovTech. Code, the numerical number 4, and then GovTech. So it has a lot of upcoming DPI based communities on Slack and even GitHub, where as a community you can collaborate together. And all the other protocols that I mentioned, right, Pekin, etc., they're all open source. It is all available there on GitHub.
Question from Stuart. What are the preferred standardized data format to ensure information flow smoothly across different DPI platforms? How about XML and JSON?
Okay. No, so it depends, right? See, which type of public good are you using? You're using Sunbird, Pekin, MOSIP. So I would, recommend that. But yes, JSON is a, commonly used. JSON is very much commonly used. In fact, I'll take an example onto this. It talks. There is, of course, on the agriculture side, right? We are looking at digital agricultural ecosystem, which communicates, with on various policies, protocols, standards, and platform. So, Agri JSON schema has been created as a common protocol and standard. That is something that's there. Then the backend protocol really, fits well there. So backend, Agri JSON, Agri library, vocabulary, and other domain standards, really contribute to various protocols and standards that you can use in ingesting this. Yes.
So the last question from chat box. As you live focused on premium amount with the classify of buying life insurance and
No,
investment.
you've got, sorry, yeah. This is not ULIP finance. This is ULIP Unified Logistics Interface. Let me put the link in the chat. See, you're mixing this. This is not ULIP this is ULIP. What you were talking about is something else.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for answering all questions. Now I request Dr. K. Komathy, Chair, CSA Chennai Chapter, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Godfrey. So, good evening all. On behalf of the organizing units, CSI Chennai Chapter, IEEE CS Madras, and the ACM Chennai, myself, Dr. Komathy, Chair, CSI Chennai Chapter, take this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks. I first of all thank the organizing units jointly arranging this webinar on emerging technology trends in digital public infrastructure, DPI innovation. We thank our distinguished speaker of today's webinar, Mr. Achyut Chandra, Lead Innovation Ecosystem and Government Tech Engagements, HCLSoftware, New Delhi, for spending his valuable time with us today to present a broad overview of the digital public infrastructure, DPI. DPI refers to platforms that offer seamless citizen services such as digital identification, payment infrastructure, and data exchange solutions that help government to deliver essential services to their people, empowering citizens and improving lives by enabling digital inclusion. Mr. Achyut emphasized DPI in today's session by citing the action across various sectors with a vision, make in India and make for the world. Emerging trends in DPI 2024 are user-centric design, public-private partnership, intergovernmental collaboration, emphasize on data privacy and security, and focus on sustainability and scalability. And we also touched upon the India's DPI stack platform consisting of identity layer, payment layer, and data layer has become the first country to develop all the three fundamental pillars of DPI, exploring how artificial intelligence, blockchain, Internet of Things, and cloud computing help to revolutionize the sectors of agriculture, education, healthcare, finance, logistics, etc., using the budding and mature DPI technologies. Deliberating the use cases, deploying DPI infrastructure such as logistic and agriculture, employing the three layers of stack platform, and the challenges they face such as data privacy, scalability, and standardizing issues. So with this, my heartfelt thanks goes again to Mr. Achyut Chandra, who with his expertise countered to the questions raised by the participants offline and online as well. I'm thankful to the participants who joined us in live Google Meet and also YouTube live streaming. I sincerely thank our mentor, Mr. H.R. Mohan, Chair Events IEEE CS Madras, who familiarizes prominent domain experts to this webinar platform for the benefit of the members. I thank the office bearers of the organizing units who supported throughout this webinar. In my view, certainly, this session has ascertained that DPI would possibly transform Make in India a viable phrase. With these warm words, we move to the end of today's event. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent presentation.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
So, yeah, my
Yes,
purview is
sorry.
we can have one more session with them using the technologies itself. It's a very fundamental. So we were able to follow it up. So following this, we can have one more session if you are, agreeing to that.
For sure. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. So with the technologies, because people will be interested to know about the technologies also.
So it can be a focused session.